Hello and welcome to the red carpet in front of the Audiobook Club Theatre of the Mind on London's glittering Park Lane, where we await the arrival of all the big stars of the audiobook firmament for the 2024 Audiobook Club Imaginary Awards Gala. For financial and logistical reasons, both the gala and the awards are entirely imaginary, but hopefully that won't stop me, Steve Phillips, and my co-host Matt Layton.
Hello, Steve.
And you, gentle listener, from enjoying this wonderful star-studded soiree.
Thanks, Steve. My compliments on the sky blue 1970s velvet tuxedo, by the way. Very courageous.
Thank you very much.
As I look down the red carpet, I can see Richard Osman unfolding his 6'7" frame from the back of a rather swanky-looking limousine and offering his arm to We Solve Murders narrator Nicola Walker, resplendent in what I can only describe as a well-classy evening dress.
And just over there, two British comedy national treasures, Miranda Hart and Sir David Jason, of course, just having a casual chat, just watched over by the paparazzi there. And that's right, sounds like Sir David is telling Miranda his Michael Hordern story. Yep. And if that weren't enough, Hollywood royalty Al Pacino, 84 years old and mad as a box of... What on earth? It's Bob Mortimer making an entrance, swooping down Park Lane astride a giant 20-foot pigeon.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Club, the podcast about audiobooks that feels that when it comes to this time of year in general and award season in particular, it's better to give than to receive. So Matt, we're going to get straight into it now. I know that everyone has bated breath, including our listener, again numerically as well as metaphorically. Our first award this evening is for Best Imaginary Violence.
That's right, Steve, and the winner of said award comes from Yellowface.
What is it like to be so impossibly perfect? To have every good thing in the world? And maybe it's the cocktails or my overactive writer's imagination, but I feel this hot coiling in my stomach, a bizarre urge to stick my fingers in her berry red painted mouth and rip her face apart, to neatly peel her skin off her body like an orange, and zip it up over myself.
Well, straight off the bat, I was coming into this. We just read The Hotel Avocado by Bob Mortimer, and that was fantastic. That was amazing, an amazing performance by all the cast in that, Bob Mortimer, Paul Whitehouse, etc. And you could not have more of a gear change, certainly with the story. And I went into this completely cold. I hadn't read any of Rebecca Kuang's body of work up until this point. And then straight off the bat, straight into the intrigue. I obviously understood that read the synopsis of everything you just outlined, but I wasn't expecting to get into the action so quickly. A brief kind of setup of the character, the relationship, and then you were straight into the death of Athena Liu. With the pancake-related incident and the stealing of the manuscript, and therein it was then you were just hooked in from chapter one. And I don't get hooked in very much at all. Indeed, it takes a lot to hook me into a good fiction book. But this one, I haven't read anything so good in years, probably.
But you were jumping up and down when I spoke to you, going, "Oh my goodness, this narrator, Helen Laser, she is so good."
Yeah.
How did she drag you in?
Well, she's the best example I've seen for a long time of a perfect match between the performance and the character. And you and I talk a lot about there's a difference between a narrator and a performer. And she is definitely a performer because she had to from how I was listening, Helen Laser had to achieve this character on many levels. This is someone who is the protagonist, and usually you're on the side of the protagonist, aren't you? They're usually the goodie.
Do you know what? I was really looking forward to asking you. So do you actually like the lead character in this book?
Yeah. Do I feel a bit dirty saying it, really. I mean, yeah, dude, I did. I was hooked in by I guess the psychosis of the lead character, how the mind worked, the constant justification, the constant trying to lie convincingly. It was really interesting, which I don't know if that says something about me. Maybe it does. But yeah.
She lies to herself and others, doesn't she? As well as lying to others, she lies to herself. I think that's the best way to put it.
She justifies all the actions she does as being a good thing. Therefore, she's right. Therefore, she can do it. And it starts, there's obviously the main manuscript, but it just doesn't stop. It becomes like a drug. I've had the first book. It was a major runaway success, albeit with a massive social media storm. What do I do next? How do I top it? How do I carry on from there? And of course, she's reached the peak so soon. But her inspiration is dead. The person who wrote it is dead. And so where do you go from there? And it's, rifling through and looking for other tidbits that you can expand on and so on. And it's a ever decreasing circle. And, what really impressed me was Helen Laser takes the voice of June Hayward, and she's got to convey the justification, that convincing herself as well as convincing others. So she goes through the panic of explaining to others the justification to herself, the panic as she gets found out here and there, or she thinks the game's up continually throughout this book. It's intonation and it's the depth. She has and we've had a brief chat on Instagram. I did invite her on, but a bit sort of short notice and everything. But she has this. She was very naturally very witchy because.
Well, I was about to say, you're not the only person who thinks this. While you were bouncing around the room, Tigger-like, telling me about this yesterday, you sent me a little clip of the author, Rebecca Kwong, and I've probably pronounced that wrong, and that's possibly illustrating the whole point of the book, the other point of the book, the misappropriation elements of it, which, as I say, I'm not going near with a barge pole. But she said this of your new internet friend, Helen Laser, as the narrator of the book, and why she chose her.
Okay, when I met the narrator of Yellowface, nicest person in the world, I told her I knew immediately she had the perfect voice for this book, but I didn't tell her it's because she sounds like a total witch.
There you go, you see, justified. You can't get bigger justification than the author, can you, really? But it was so good. Well, I thought I was quite right in everything I was saying there, absolutely. It's essentially, I think this was a fantastic book. The imagery that Rebecca Kwong created inside the insane, twisted mind of Athena Liu's, I don't know, enemy, would you say? Just incredible. Just a fantastic book, and also interestingly a real departure for Rebecca Kwong as well, because she's not the kind of book she normally writes, and it was a kind of first. I really want a sequel. I want a sequel. R.F. Kwong.
I love your enthusiasm for this book. Every time since about July, when we've brought up whether we're going to do a best of show or some tacky equivalent like this one, you always mention Yellowface first. It's interesting. It's really stuck in your mind, hasn't it?
It certainly has, absolutely. So we go from there and we segue really neatly into the Frankie Howard Memorial Award for the Best Unnecessary Smut.
Yes, the inaugural Frankie Howard Memorial.
The inaugural. In fact, you could say every award tonight, or indeed whenever we record this podcast, is inaugural, as it's the first ones we've ever done.
Excuse me, it's just it's an award ceremony trope that I'm doing here. If you're going to analyse everything, meant to be, they just say inaugural all the time. Never know what it means.
Tonight, my friend and nay colleague, tonight is not a night for petty arguments. It's a night for the stars, isn't it, really? And the award goes to Darren Brown for his outstanding contribution to the genre in his Audible original podcast series, Boot Camp for the Memory.
To show that the king is in residence, staying in it on his royal holidays. Have you got that? Next word is sugar, so now we link flag and sugar. So we can imagine a delicious, sugar-coated flag, pink and fluffy like candy floss. You're licking the pole, because that's the sort of thing you do. Maybe you don't like it at first, then you start to enjoy it and you can't stop. Where was I? Oh yes, octopus is next. So sugar and octopus.
Still funny.
Sucking on its tendrils there. I think Darren Brown should be in the next Carry On film if they make one, or indeed like an Allo Allo reboot. He would be fantastic, maybe as Lieutenant Gruber. Anyway, that's just my
focus.
Yes, focus.
Onwards
to the next award, my friend.
Yes, the next award is for Best Celebrity Impression, and this comes from Sir David Jason's audiobook from earlier this year, which is strangely called This Time Next Year. In it, there's a story that he likes telling where he meets Michael Hordern, Sir Michael Hordern, in a voice artist studio in Soho.
I've told you before many times my story about bumping into Sir Michael one afternoon at one of the sound studios, possibly Molyneux actually, and not being able to suppress my surprise at seeing one of the true greats of the theatre in this slightly, grubby context. I mean, if we're talking about proper actors, you can't get much more proper than Sir Michael Hordern, can you? "What are you doing here, Sir Michael?" I heard my shocked self ask as we encountered each other in the reception area. "Why, dear boy, the same as you," came Sir Michael's reply. "Being a vocal whore." And look, I've just gone and told that story again, but I know why I love repeating it. It's because every time I do so, I get to do my impression of the voice. Michael's wonderfully rich and tremulous tone in which the word whore grows at least one other syllable to become whore.
I don't know how you spell that.
It's got lots and lots of syllables in there, far many more than is actually written in the actual word and how the rest of us say that particular word.
Now, how do you feel about the book from a distance of a couple of months? Sum it up for us, Steve.
It was a warm bath. It was warm bath territory with all that's horrible in the world. Listen to this and you'll feel much better. This is perfect for Christmas, actually. This is perfect, not necessarily for Christmas Day, because Christmas Day is a bit frenetic and, are the sprouts done and all the rest of it? Is the turkey cooked properly? I've got slippers again for Christmas, all the stresses and strains. But actually, it's for one of those sort of journeys, if you're driving to relatives for Christmas or you're just sort of just chilling out in the days leading up to it and everything's done. This is the book for you. It's a really nice book to listen to, either in the lead up to Christmas or that space between Christmas and New Year. You
make a fantastic point, Steve, apart from the fact that, of course, we have pre-recorded this and it's going out on Boxing Day.
Yes, well, for next year, this would be the perfect. So only another 360 odd days to go before you can officially.
Christmas is dead, mate. Christmas is dead.
Yeah, you really are dampening the excess atmos there by keeps repeating "Christmas is dead" at the top of your voice. Sinister Christmas. That's it. There we go.
Soon as Boxing Day comes, the broadcast rule is Christmas is dead.
Well, it's on to our standout entry for Best Wildlife Documentary, and that goes to, well, who else? Author Bob Mortimer for Hotel Avocado. On this episode of Audiobook Club, we head to Brighton on England's pebbly south coast to learn about the true nature of seagulls.
The sky was grey and the sea was even greyer. The wind was blowing in little gusts around me and rainfall seemed inevitable. I had sat on this bench many times over the past 6 months. It was the place I always escaped to when I wanted a bit of solitude. I sometimes brought a bit of cake or a slice of bread out with me and fed some crumbs to the seagulls and the pigeons. I wasn't so keen on the seagulls. Most of them seemed to be bullies and their voices sounded angry and accusing. I think they spoke mainly in lies. Give us some cake. I haven't eaten for months, mate. I've got 10 kids to feed. Why did you throw it to that manky pigeon? Jesus, not more crust. I'll report you to the RSPB. That sort of thing.
Hotel Avocado wasn't really my kind of book, Steve, but I did warm to it in the end. Why is it here? Why is it winning awards on our inaugural award show?
2 words for you, Matt. Manky pigeon in that clip just then. The way he brings together different things and sticks them together as him and Vic Reeves, did on throughout their TV career. He would just list stuff like, I don't know, he'd talk about, I don't know, I can't remember the exact quote, but he started listing out stuff around sort of plywood and space food. Space food. I mean, what? Yeah. So that's why this is here. And he is a fantastic author. He's shown himself to be a brilliant author. We've had the Satsuma Complex, which I've not read yet, but Hotel Avocado was just a brilliant thriller. Really well-rounded, interesting characters, fantastic setting, and above all the plot, some real jeopardy in there. It'll keep you gripped from start to finish, I'll betcha.
Yeah, and some unusual violence. Your use of 2 words that don't belong together. At one point, he does get hit in the face with a clod of mince.
A clod of mince. I mean, that word, clod, that's got Bob Mortar all over it, isn't it, really?
Can I do the next award? We're getting towards the big ones, mate.
Yeah, we're going to have a chat about the next award after you've done the next award, because it's not so clear-cut for me.
Oh, is it not? Okay, yeah, because obviously, yeah. All right, so the next award is for Performance of the Year, and for me, certainly, the award goes to Nicola Walker, who narrated the first in Richard Osman's new series of books called We Solve Murders.
This your bag? Carlos Moss motions to Steve's rucksack. The bag I just carried all the way from the plane and pulled my passport out of, says Steve. Yes, it's my bag, Sherlock. Bit much? Is that humour, sir? I hope not. Long flight, says Steve. Also, I'm English. Also, stupid question, Carlos. Carlos lowers his aviator shades once more. Sir, you've made me lower my sunglasses 2 times now. That's plenty enough.
Now, Nicola Walker should get this award. No bones about it. She was the engine behind this audiobook. Fantastic writing from Richard Osman. At the time, I said to you, I have never read any Richard Osman. Well, I read some of The Bullet That Missed. The first one, Thursday Murder Club. But this book is the first completed Richard Osman work, and I'm not really into my detective dramas and sort of cozy crime and that sort of stuff. But this was fantastic, and a huge, great deal is down to Nicola Walker and her performance. The way she portrayed each of those characters, different sexes, different nationalities, different forms of authority, and all the rest of it. She was fantastic. The thing that sticks in my head is the chat GPT of this criminal just doing everything in the style of an English gentleman. However, and we've heard her earlier on in this awards ceremony, Helen Laser for Yellowface, it just runs her so close because she just really sucked you into this book, into Yellowface, and that this horrible, all the motivations and the horribleness behind the protagonist's machinations as she tried to pass off Athena Lou's work as her own, just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and the backlash was getting worse and worse and worse. And she sounded evil, at the time. She's trying to justify everything. It was a really meaty, deep performance from Helen Laser on Yellowface. So yeah, for me, I would probably give it to them jointly, but Nicola Walker, absolutely take nothing away from her.
I referred to it at the time as being like it was the chocolate fondant of audiobook club narrations. And yeah, it was soft and spongy on the outside and warm and gooey and comforting in the middle. I just thought she did an amazing job. And yeah, it turns out being an actor is actually a thing, and it's quite hard. And
yeah.
Speaking of which, I bet you can guess, without even opening the envelope, what celebrity anecdote of the year is.
Get him on now.
Do you want to say what it is?
I don't think he needs an introduction. Just run VT, as they said in the 80s.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
I had my lunch with Marlon in a modest room in the hospital where we were filming on 14th Street. He was sitting on one hospital bed. I was sitting on the other. He was asking me questions. Where am I from? How long have I been an actor? And he was eating chicken cacciatore with his hands. His hands were full of red sauce. So was his face. And that's all I could think about the whole time we were talking. Whatever his words were, my conscious mind was fixated by the stain-covered sight in front of me. He was talking. Gobble, 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 gobble. And I was just mesmerized. What was he going to do with the chicken? I hoped he wasn't going to tell me, throw it in the garbage for him. He disposed of it somehow without getting up. He looked at me in a quizzical way, as if to ask, what are you thinking about? I was wondering, what is he going to do with his hands? Should I get him a napkin? Before I could, he spread both his hands across the white hospital bed, smeared the sheets with red sauce without even thinking about it. And he kept on talking at the same time. And I thought, is that how movie stars act? You can do anything.
Just love it. I mean, I told you when I was listening to this book, my whole family wanted to listen to it because it'd be on in the morning, first thing, while I'm getting the dog's breakfast or whatever. And there would just be these noises coming out of the kitchen of just incredulity from Al Pacino. It was just this, like, he was just seemed surprised at his own life. You know, every story he told, it just sounded like, what? I couldn't believe it. What a guy. He could just do anything.
I think he was also surprised by the content of his own book. I'm not sure he'd necessarily seen any of it before he read it.
I don't know. I mean, it may have been ghostwritten, but it was genuinely coming from him. And he's 84. And actually, we said at the time, it's a difficult gig to narrate an audiobook at the best of times in that booth for hours on end. But he just sounded so like he had the sound of a person who's had a really good life, you know, really full life. I mean, he's had these downs, you know, certainly if you listen to the, you know, how his upbringing and everything. But yeah, what a life. And that came through in his narration.
Yeah. It's interesting that, as again, we've just heard David Jason, who's exactly the same age, 84 years old, sacred in India, Steve, because it means you've seen 1,000 moons.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And there is a contrast in professionalism between the two, I think, but both of them equally endearing.
Yeah, agree. We are agreed on that one. Well, let's move on to our next award. This is the award for the best tree-based book source material, or I guess, as other people call it, like the Wizards of the Booker Prize and so on, Book of the Year. But we're an audiobook club.
Well, we always look at it in three ways, don't we? We always do the same thing. We start normally when we're doing one of our regular episodes, we start with the author, and then we move on to the text of the book before going on to, does the audiobook bring anything to the party? And the reason we do that is because without a written book first, nothing exists, and it get messy, really, wouldn't it?
It would completely get messy. Yeah, absolutely. So on to the award without further ado.
Amy weighs up the odds. Kevin is around 6'2", must weigh upwards of 260 pounds. If she can unbalance him, it's an easy win for her. But Kevin is an ex-Navy SEAL, and Kevin knows that he is 6'2" and heavy. So Kevin also knows that if Amy can unbalance him, it's an easy win for her. Kevin is therefore keeping his distance and letting the gun do the work.
But I really liked the characters from the off. Actually, I've got into it very, very quickly. I love his writing style, And I think this is actually part of when you're listening to an audiobook, I think we all ingest them in very different ways. You know, because I'm not a natural reader, which is not really a good thing for a host of an audiobook podcast, but I have to be in a certain set of circumstances. Once I'm bought into a book, I am hooked. I am hooked, and I will go to it right to the very end. But if there's something distracting me, if I don't get that much time in the car, because this week I've had to do a lot of long journeys, so I've got through it anyway. But I really got into this book very, very quickly. His writing is so accessible. He's got very relatable lines in there. The characters are very relatable. The settings initially, those areas in the New Forest, I knew some of those towns, some of those places that were cited. Occasionally, the plot lost me. Maybe that might be my fault because I was, tuning out, I was driving, I was concentrating on something else. But I was managing to follow the plot and all the characters and all the threads. He makes you work, but in a really kind of easy way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He makes you follow the thing, but he writes in a very accessible way. It helps having, 101 odd chapters as well. It's quite short chapters, and everything is very... there's low barrier to entry, I think. If you're not naturally given to murder mystery, this is the one you should start with for me, because this is the one I've actually started with.
Yeah, okay. Look, I agree with you, and I've just thought of a phrase that I'm going to use over and over again, and it is, yeah, Steve, he doesn't write in crayon. The headline of the Thursday Murder Club books was that, it's in a retirement village. They all drink wine at lunchtime. They're all quite old and, they're happy and sad. But actually, the story is quite dark, and all of the characters are really richly portrayed. And yeah, if you're not concentrating, as can happen with an audiobook, and you miss something, then it is going to affect you. As much as he is portrayed as a mainstream gentle, genteel Sunday evening murder writer, there is real depth and thought in what he writes, both in terms of, for me, it's Steve, the lead character, on headline was, he ends up in St. Lucia in South Carolina, but really he'd rather be at home watching television. And that could be, an irritating stereotype until you learn that he used to be a Met police officer, and he's widowed. And he talks to his wife via his dictaphone, his dead wife via his dictaphone, and his I don't like travelling is very subtle, involves grief and the way that anxiety builds as you get older. So it's quite, it's subtler than you think it's going to be if you watch Richard Osman being interviewed on, one of those television programs with a sofa on it, which he enjoys, and he does quite a lot and has been out doing that for the last week. But it's not as light as that. There's more to find in there if you're looking for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it did to me.
Yeah, it did to me too.
Yeah, there you go. Richard Osman.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and looking forward to the film next year and the television series hopefully the year after.
Looking forward to the TV, the sequel. The sequel to We Solve Murders. We Solve More Murders. He basically left the door wide open for the next lucrative
He's made it easy for himself, don't he?
Yeah.
We Solve Murders too. Yeah. No, we could do one.
Yeah,
call it that.
We do them as well. That's right. We Solve Murders as well. What a killer title that is. Still to come, we've got the Audiobook Club Audiobook of the Year, but not before we've had, Matt, the opener of the year. What exactly is the opener of the year?
Well, as you know, Steve, I used to work in radio, and I used to work behind the scenes and make stuff. And actually, this award is an award to me, but I know that you like it.
I love self-aggrandizement in a podcast.
No, I've snuck one in for myself.
You are a friend of the show. Yeah,
I love playing with the toys. I love having a fiddle, and I don't do it to the standard of the people who make stuff for Audible Originals or the BBC. But I've
seen you fiddling, and it's pretty good standard.
I'm a gentleman amateur, Steve. So yeah, this is one I think it was your favourite of the year. We did 2 shows with Ben McIntyre, or around Ben McIntyre. One an interview with him, and the second one was to not even review, celebrate the release of his new book, The Siege, about the Iranian embassy siege in London in 1980. And I just had a little bit of fun playing with what was blank text. And I just put some sound effects around it, really.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
On this week's Audiobook Club, we travel back in time to 1980 to learn more about the infamous siege at the Iranian embassy in London.
We've got about a minute now.
Gullen told Rose by radio.
And then we're going.
The order
Hyde Park
crackled through the SAS earpieces. Groups in position, explosives primed, abseilers hitched and ready.
London Bridge.
Barked Gullen.
Go, go, go.
Morell and Palmer pushed off the rear parapet and began to descend. The abseil ropes fizzing softly through the figure-of-8 devices. The first pair reached the second floor. Then Tommy Palmer's foot went through a window. At 7:23 p.m, the building was rocked by an enormous explosion.
Shooting back. God, that's harrowing when you listen to it. That's the real ITN archive footage at the end there.
That's incredible. I mean, you captured the real atmosphere of that book, because the thing about Ben McIntyre is he turns, and it gets talked about a lot, and he turns real life events into a real drama for the ears, doesn't he? His narration as well, and the intensity of that situation, especially if you were in the Iranian embassy as a bystander at the time, was pretty high, wasn't it? And it was just an incredible book, absolutely incredible book, The Siege, as was Colditz before that as well.
SAS Rogue Heroes coming, season 2 coming in the new year as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Matt, that you thoroughly deserve that award. You would have won all of them, of course.
I have awarded myself.
Well done. It does bring us on to the denouement of the very first, in some will possibly say inaugural, Audiobook Club Awards. And
is it not the zenith? Is it not the pinnacle of the Audiobook Club
the
Awards?
nucleus zenith, and maybe even the nadir. Maybe the nadir. That's the negative one.
I know, that is the nadir.
The lowest point. Indeed, the highest point. The Audiobook Club.
Lowest common denominator. We do not the lowest point.
Yeah.
We don't do nadirs.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we say a very sort of, let's say lowest common denominator. It's kind of very much at a permanent low level, isn't it? You know, there's no sort of.
There was the bit where you once do a deer. A feet. No, I can't work that joke out. Sorry,
do that. Don't cross the streams on that one. So basically, we had a decision to make about Audiobook Club of the Audiobook of the Year, and
there isn't one. We haven't come up with it yet. I think there may be some indicators of what might be coming from my side, but no, we're both going to nominate our own Book of the Year, and I think you wanted to put in some Bears mentionings. What did you call them?
Honourable mentions. Honourable mentions. So basically, for I think probably a few months of the earlier on this year, we were off air, but however, the audiobook listening did not stop. So honourable mentions to a couple of things we've not brought up on the podcast before. One is Politics on the Edge, which is an episode we may well bring out fairly soon, from Rory Stewart. That was a fantastic autobiography, his account of his time working in government and, of course, outside government as well. I also listened to Alan Partridge's Big Beacon as well. Heartily recommend that. That came out actually last year, but I listened to it this year. And also, staying with politics, actually, the art of the political interview. And if you've ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes, what really happens in TV political interviews, then it's Rob Burley's Why Is This Lying Bastard Lying to Me, which is attributed to a quote from Jeremy Paxman once when he describes how he interviews politicians. So a few books there from myself as to what I was listening to while we were away, but they are all fantastically recommended. So yeah, go ahead and download it if you get a chance. You got any of yours at all, Matt?
No, I think I'm just going to go for my a big finish. So I have to ask you, Steve, what is your audiobook of 2024?
My audiobook of 2024 was one I really wasn't expecting to be it, because we've got our kind of favourite genres, haven't we? And I wasn't expecting a work of fiction, actually, to be honest. I really like sort of factual stuff, historicals, biographies, all that kind of thing. But it is Yellowface. Yellowface is my book of the year by Rebecca Kuang, because it's just for everything I've said throughout the podcast. It had me from literally second one straight into the action, and just watching this life go spiraling out of control. Combination of the written word, and also a fantastic performance by Helen Laser, and also Ashley Haddad as well, who did the Radio 4 Book at Bedtime version too. So that's my book of the year. Matt, what about yours? I'm really interested to hear. Go on.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Oh, really?
Elton John's biography from 2019. A couple of weeks ago, we failed to give a positive review to
Farewell Yellow Brick Road, isn't it? Yeah.
Farewell Yellow Brick Road, which was the book to accompany the end of the tour, and it was god awful. And in order to get through the week, I went a hunting and found Elton John's autobiography, Me, from 2019, and it was just full of everything you wanted from Elton. I ended up liking Elton more after reading that book than I did before. So, in typical Audiobook Club style, my book of the year, 2024, is 5 years old.
I didn't expect Elton John to come up on the inside for you. Right at the end there. He really... What a finish. What a finish from Elton John there, right at the end.
Are you after next year's Frankie Howard?
Don't you dare. No, don't. I can't do Frankie Howard. I'm not going to. There you go. That summed us up. That is the very first Audio Book Club Book of the Year awards. And thank you very much for listening. By the way, Chipping, what were yours at Audiobook Show on Instagram and also Blue Sky as well? We've got a Facebook page, and we've got we have an X account as well. But yeah, let us know what yours was. I did sort of post out an Instagram image to sort of sum up audiobooks of 2024, and if you go to our Audiobook Show account on Insta or Blue Sky, you'll see it's utterly harrowing image from AI to sum it up. Really,
you won't sleep for a week.
You won't unsee it. Trust me. Thank goodness it's a podcast. So next week we're going to carry on our sort of kind of this kind of end of year bring your party games to the class kind of show. It's best of the guest, Matt.
Yeah, we have the three Bens, Ben Folds, Ben McIntyre, and Ben Aronovich, as it's meant to be pronounced, I have found out. Who else have we had on, Steve?
Oh, I've got Dirk Maggs.
Yeah.
Dirk Maggs. Oh, Sandman.
The greatest audiobook producer of all time, fact.
I've missed me some Sandman. Oh, man. Yeah, but, I mean, Dirk Maggs has literally produced movies for the head. And that's exactly how he sort of goes about his business. And it just goes to show, I don't know, you see screenshots sometimes he posts screenshots of his kind of, his production layout on his screen. We have Adobe Audition up with just one sound file, and there's just like hundreds of rows of sound effects, dialogue, music, the whole thing. And I meant to mention this when we interviewed him that time, and hopefully he'll come back on. Actually, I'd like to talk to him about what he thinks about AI, to be honest. I'm suspecting not such a fan, but the theme tune to the Sandman, you always remember where you were when you heard a certain piece of an audiobook, don't you? And it really is completely incongruous. But coming off a roll-on, roll-off car ferry at Calais, as the doors open to reveal Calais on the other side as I ride, that's when the Sandman theme on Audible kicked in. And I just thought that was quite, obviously the setting it revealed was more sort of, an entrance to the Calais one-way system rather than the Land of Dreams. But nonetheless, that's what I see.
Yeah, so the honourable mentions also to Jeff White, of course, global superstar now of the Lazarus Heist, which apparently reached a much wider audience on Audible than it did through the BBC iPlayer.
Oh, yeah, interesting stuff. Anyway, so we've got a packed show full of all the guests we've interviewed over the podcast, and it'd be great if you could join us for that. So that'll be coming out just before the turn of the year. Then we get straight back into all the audiobooks of 2025, which we're going to be looking forward to as well. So that was the awards. Matt, thanks so much for your commentary and also your compliments about my sky blue tuxedo. Appreciate that. And we will see you next week for Best of the Guests.
Sayonara, Steve.
Ta-ra. Happy Christmas.
Yesterday, you muppet.
Still say
it. Gee, when do you take your decorations down? March?
April. Just can't let go of the past. I can't let go.
Oh God! Don't get onto the phone party again.
On to the next podcast, yes. Everybody. I'm sure the rest is politics has dropped now. Come on, off you go. See you later.